I want to read you something very important to lay the foundation that was in the American Spectator by Rabbi Dov Fisher. But I want to set the record straight thanks to this rabbi. He wrote, I don't know why Donald Trump loves Jews. Maybe because more than 90% of Orthodox Jews voted for him against both Hillary and Joe Biden. Maybe because his daughter is an Orthodox Jew. Maybe because Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, whom he loves and trusts, is an Orthodox Jew. Maybe because Trump's grandchildren are Orthodox Jews who observe the Shabbat according to its law, eat strictly kosher, and attend yeshiva, Jewish parochial school. Or my personal theory, he says, maybe because his father Fred, who was one of the great Philo-Semites, that is, Jew supporters, of the prior generation, who even donated property to a Jewish congregation for them to have a synagogue, taught young Donald that part of the Trump family legacy is to love Jews. Now, isn't this interesting? He has spent his entire life supporting Jews and Jewish causes, as had his father. But I want to get into something more specific, because I want to juxtapose this with Biden and the Biden regime and the Democrats. When others refused to hire Jews, Trump did. Number one, he opened the restricted Mar-a-Lago private club to blacks and Jews when he bought it. Number two, he surrounded himself with honorable Jewish legal scholars and attorneys like David Friedman and Jason Greenblatt, and even a bum named Michael Cohen, whose kid's bar mitzvah he attended. In Israel, Trump will be elected prime minister by a landslide, after nearly half a century of broken promises by other American presidents. 3, Trump formally declared and America recognized United Jerusalem as Israel's capital. 4, he moved America's Israel embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. 5, he recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. 6, he recognized the permanent legality of all Jewish communities and cities in Judea and Samaria, as in all legal situations that Israel's own courts regard them as legal. 7, he cut off hundreds of millions of dollars funding for Abu Mazen, that is, Mahmoud Abbas, the head of the Palestinian Liberation Organization that was founded by Arafat. He closed down the PLO office in Washington, did Trump. Number 9, he closed down America's long-standing Palestine consulate in Jerusalem. 10, pulled the United States out of the anti-Semitic UN Human Rights Council. 11, cut off $300 million in funding that Americans had been sending to the Jew-hating UNRWA, Jew-hating UN agency that runs schools in places like Gaza, where Arab Muslim children are taught to hate Jews and to murder Jews. Number 12, appointed a UN ambassador, Nikki Haley, who warned anti-Israel countries that were taking down names. 13, almost unilaterally brought about the Abraham Accords that induced several leading Arab Muslim countries for the first time to enter into the true peace agreements with Israel without Israel ceding an inch of Jewish territory in Judea and Samaria to the Palestinians. 15, his education secretary, Betsy DeVos, endorsed yeshiva education during visits to 2 yeshivas in a New York City trip while skipping visiting the city's public schools. 16, Trump issued an executive order on combating anti-Semitism to enhance enforcement of Title VI of the Civil Rights Act to protect Jewish college students from the overt Jew hatred now rampant on so many American campuses. You know, other presidents could have done that. So he takes the Civil Rights Act, that's this Title VI part, and he signs an executive order, and these suits that are being brought against these universities now are being brought under this part of the act as a result of Donald Trump's executive order. 17, he named Kenneth Marcus as Assistant Secretary of Civil Rights at the Department of Education to investigate anti-Semitic episodes at campuses like Rutgers University. Oh, the good old days when there was one campus. Now there's so many you can't even count them. Trump deported the last Nazi war criminal known to be hiding in America. He signed into law a bill making it easier for Holocaust victims to reclaim stolen property. He ended the disastrous Iran deal and implemented crushing sanctions against Iran. He signed the Taylor Force Act. No more American money goes to the PLO, you know, the moderate Arabs, because they keep killing and using our money to kill Jews and Americans. Number 22, knocked off Qasem Soleimani, the head of the IRG for Iran. 23, rubbed out Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the head of ISIS. He shattered State Department policy by authorizing Americans born in Jerusalem to list Israel on their American passports as their country of birth. That was controversial before, if you can believe that. He imposed sanctions on the International Criminal Court for unfairly and illegally investigating Israel. And he said in his 2019 State of the Union address, quote, We must never ignore the
vile poison of anti-Semitism or those who spread its venomous creed. With one voice, we must confront this hatred anywhere and everywhere it occurs.
And this is the man they call Hitler. And it was Iran. It was Iran that was in trouble. Why? Because Donald Trump had had enough with Iran. Not only did he take out Soleimani, which made it clear to all the leaders of that Islamo-Nazi Iranian regime that he could take any of them out. Any of them out. So he stopped them.